Hello my loves, hope you've all been keeping well. If you're new here, welcome, and today's project is going to be this dress coat that's never been worn. It was part of a sewing test that I was doing on someone that I didn't quite like, so I knew I was going to take it apart and transform it into something I could actively wear. The design technique I'll be using on this one is the upcycle and zero waste technique. There's a full video of this process on my Instagram, so feel free to have a look. Which I then transformed to this stunning two-piece. I loved the outcome so much and was so pleased to have achieved the goal, which was to ensure absolutely no fabric goes to waste and also to give it a sassy and unique design. So if you'd like to see how all this came about, then just keep watching. I began by taking off the buttons on the right side of the dress coat and pocket flaps, ensuring to be very careful while doing this to avoid any pulling. I left the two buttons on the first row intact. I then folded the dress coat like so and marked 15 inches down, and then added another 1.5 inches for the hem allowance. Next I cut it out. I then carefully took the arms out. Next, I proceeded to my machine and did running stitches to the edges of the arms to secure lining and outer fabrics. I then did overlock on the edges and placed it aside. I took two of the pocket flaps and stitched them together on the shorter edge like so. Next, I did overlock on the open edge side like so. I then pinned the joint of the flap strip to the shoulder joint of the top like so and proceeded to stitch it in place. I then flipped the edge inward like so and used my favorite signature pattern stitch and stitched it all round. I did the same to the other arm. Next, I proceeded to do running stitches at the bottom to secure the lining and top fabric before hemming. I folded the bottom inwards twice like so and proceeded to use my favorite pattern stitch. Next, I pressed this with a hot iron in some water to make the cut stay defined and placed it aside. I then took the arms and detached the lining and undid the joint to have two strips. Next, I measured the length of the strip to ensure I had enough for my waist, which I did, so I proceeded to iron the strips and used one to get a 2.5 folded strip for my waistband and proceeded to cut off the ragged edge. Next, I cut it in half on the long edge and joined it at the short edge to have one long strip. I then folded the edges on the long edge inward once, like so, and pressed it with an iron and placed it aside. I then took out the bottom section of the dress coat and took out the top button, then stitched the top open edge using running stitches. I then folded the beginning of the strip inwards and tucked it over the open skirt edge like so. I used my favorite pattern stitch and stitched this in place to the end, ensuring to take my time for a neat finish. I tucked the open end inward, then pressed the waist with an iron. I wanted an overlapping drape with this design with consideration of the fabric left, so I wrapped it around my waist and marked where my buckle would meet and where buttons would go, then marked them out. I used these hooks and installed them at my waist measurement point. I wanted the first 3 buttons to be functional so that the skirt wouldn't be revealing even if flipped over by wind or as I walk. I then measured the distance between each button and added 2 more marks where I sew in 2 more buttons for symmetry. I then took the other 2 remaining arm strips and added the third one left from the first set and straightened the edges as best as I could to get an equal width for the 3 strips. I then hemmed all the open sides of the short edges. Next, I joined these 3 strips to have one long one. I then hemmed one of the long sides on folds like so and pinned box pleats that I pressed with an iron. I went ahead and secured the box pleats in place using running stitches. Also, I ensured these boxes fitted the length of the overlapping flap of the skirt. I went ahead and aligned it with the right sides together from the point under the waistband and stitched it in place. I then flipped the ruffle section outward to have the right side up and stitched it at the edge of the inner allowance. I stitched back a button I had to take off to sew the ruffle strip, and with that I was all done. Here's a final look, which to be honest came out better than I'd anticipated considering the small amount of fabric I had to work with. This is definitely going up in my list of faves in my closet. Until the next one, please stay safe and take all precaution. Stay warm as well and have an amazing time wherever you are. Bye loves!